or coverage you can count on. This is the KFOX 14 Morning News.
The senator will take her seat.
Senators impugn the motives and conduct of our colleague from Alabama.
Things get a little heated during a debate for Senator Jeff Sessions. The statements that led to Senator Elizabeth Warren being banned from the Senate floor. Plus,
what's happening right now with Mrs. Nyland? She hasn't been here for more than 7 weeks.
The absence of City Representative Courtney Nyland isn't sitting too well with those living in her district. What they're asking the city to do in the midst of her absence. A lot of drama there, too.
Yeah, I wonder why she hasn't been there. Coming up on 5 o'clock, good morning to you. I'm John Purvis.
And I'm Kajal Dashi. It's Wednesday, February 8th. Let's take a look at our weather with meteorologist Brad Montgomery. More wind in our forecast, Brad?
Well, the good news is some breezes out there this morning, but the winds will be dying down. We're going to go mostly clear for today. You can see the radar pretty quiet for us and mild, too. 47 right now, El Paso. Feels like 44 with the breezes. We're seeing 39 Las Cruces. Feels like 35. Take a look at this afternoon, though. Right around 72 degrees, El Paso. Mild, light north winds. Las Cruces about 69, kicking temperatures up in a big way beginning tomorrow, near records. In fact, we'll talk more about that coming up.
All right, Brad, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. It's 5 o'clock now on your Wednesday. We're halfway through the week as we check in with traffic. You can see plenty of green on the screen this morning. No reports of any early morning accidents. I'm seeing just a little bit of slowing here through Trans Mountain for those that are headed westbound here in this curve. So you just want to take it a little slow here in that area. The overnight road work with the GO 10 project here at the I-10 Mesa and Wrestler has now cleared this morning, so you don't have to worry about that slowing you down. Coming up, we'll check in on ongoing road work. We'll see you later this morning and afternoon. Kajal and John.
Candlelight, thank you. New information this morning. New studies show most Americans support public school children getting vaccinated. KFOX 14 morning news reporter Marcel Clark's live to explain why some, like President Trump, aren't showing the same response. Marcel?
Before starting at a new school like Green Elementary, most students have to get some vaccinations off their checklist, and a new study shows that most parents are for it. The Pew Research Center reported more than 80% of Americans support students in public schools to get vaccinated. That includes vaccinations for measles, mumps, and rubella. People who took part in the survey also responded with strong positive perceptions of those benefits. However, President Donald Trump met with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. back in January, who is an advocate of the theory that vaccines cause autism. The Washington Post reported a Trump spokeswoman said he was considering the creation of the Commission on Autism. The survey also found that parents with younger children were the most worried about vaccination safety. Live in West El Paso, Marcel Clark, the KFOX 14 Morning News.
Marcel, thank you. And continuing coverage this morning, they say that President Trump's travel ban now lies in the hands of the federal court. Judges in the Ninth Court of Appeals could issue a ruling as soon as today. In a hearing, the Department of Justice argued for the court to reinstate the temporary ban on immigrants from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. Minnesota and Washington challenged Trump's executive order, saying they've been negatively impacted by the ban. Strategists say the White House wasn't able to make an effective argument to the judges. The case is expected to move on to the Supreme Court after the Ninth Circuit Court makes a decision.
And with that, Kajal, Ninth Circuit becoming a trending topic on social media during that heated debate. Judges seeking answers from both sides on whether the ban was or wasn't motivated by anti-Muslim prejudice. Fox Network's tweeting this particular image, a good visual. The Department of Justice representing the president and him imposing the travel ban, and on the other side, the plaintiff representing the people or the state attorneys generals. Cecilia Wang, she is live tweeting or was live tweeting during the event. She's legal counsel for the ACLU. And here she poses the question that Judge Clifton said, why religious discrimination when most Muslims are not affected? And he's replied to say it's the basic discrimination law. It doesn't have to show that most Muslims were affected. And she continues on as one individual asks about why people didn't have the same sentiments towards President Obama, or why the ACLU didn't go so hard against Obama's administration. And she comes back to say that the ACLU had repeatedly sued Obama for unconstitutional actions. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. John?
Betsy DeVos is now officially U.S. Education Secretary. Her confirmation came after Vice President Mike Pence cast a historic tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Pence then administered the oath of office to DeVos and said his confirmation vote earlier in the day was, quote, the easiest vote I ever cast, end quote. Senate Democrats spent a full day talking about why they opposed her as the nation's education secretary, hoping to convince at least one more Republican to reject her nomination. But in the end, the Republican-controlled Senate delivered a victory to President Trump by a final vote of 51-50, making it the closest confirmation battle yet. Senator Elizabeth Warren is now banned from the Senate floor until the debate over Senator Jeff Sessions' nomination to become U.S. Attorney General ends. A party line vote silenced Warren after she clashed with Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell. She was reading a letter that had been written by Martin Luther King's widow, Coretta Scott King, that opposed Sessions' nomination as a federal judge back in 1986. The majority leader stopped her, citing a rule against impugning another senator. Shortly after she was removed from the Senate floor, Warren sent a series of tweets out. One said, quote, "I will not be silent about a nominee for Attorney General who has made derogatory and racist comments that have no place in our justice system," end quote. In another tweet, the Massachusetts Democrat wrote, "I will not be silent while the Republicans rubber stamp an Attorney General who will never stand up to the President of the United States when he breaks the law," end quote.
El Paso City Council decides to scrap a $200,000 study for the downtown arena project. Mayor Oscar Leeser said the city didn't need to spend any more taxpayer dollars on the project. Other reps felt the study at the convention center would bring no new information to the table. The city says this doesn't officially designate the Union Plaza area for the arena project. Representative Courtney Nyland's been missing from several key city council meetings. Nyland has missed 3 council meetings thus far. She represents downtown El Paso, including the location for the proposed arena. Nyland made a move to take Union Plaza off the table, but while she was gone, council reversed the decision. She tells KFOX 14 she's been gone because of a family illness.
I think ultimately what needs to be weighed is what's in the best interest of the community at large, and how can we best protect the public's investment, and how can we best protect the people that will be affected.
Nyland said she'll be at the next meeting.
Happening today, the sentencing phase will begin for Antonio Lopez after jurors find him guilty of murder. The jury reached its guilty verdict after about 6 hours of deliberations yesterday. As KFOX 14 has reported, Lopez was accused of stomping to death an 11-month-old foster child in his care. During closing arguments, prosecutors said Lopez confessed to the crime and the evidence pointed to him as the one who was responsible for her death. Defense attorneys argued another foster child in the home killed the toddler, Jayla Beckley, but the jury disagreed. The sentencing phase will start this morning at 8.
Well, it's been a rough 24 hours for the people in New Orleans after an EF2 tornado touched down in the city, leaving that city to clean up. The storm hit late yesterday morning, bringing with it a tornado that damaged homes and businesses. Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency for Louisiana after a powerful storm system swept through much of the southeast part of Louisiana. NASA's Michoud Assembly Facility in New Orleans, one of the largest manufacturing facilities in the world, was damaged in the storm and reported that some employees suffered minor injuries.
We're getting too good at responding to disasters in Louisiana. That's because we get too much practice, but it's a good thing when we're called upon.
Very strong storms will still be possible in the lower Mississippi River Valley and central Gulf Coast states through Tuesday. But Brad, by strong storms, are we talking hail, more tornadoes?
Well, the good news is that is now shifting off the southeast coast. South Carolina right now kind of under the gun, as well as coastal North Carolina, but that'll be moving offshore. What an incredible day yesterday in Louisiana. Again,
powerful tornado. Powerful
tornadoes. The system that gave us the wind Monday and early yesterday morning, that was the system that caused those tornadoes once it hit that Gulf moisture.
Definitely something we're going to have to watch over. Some changes coming soon to El Paso's airport. The main focus of the multi-million-dollar project and when it'll be completed.
A battle over the future of our nation's health insurance system. We'll bring you the debate between Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders at a town hall.